Hi, everyone. Today on the TechAI AI Solution Podcast, we have a Jennifer from Skip the Line US. So, this company is literally taking out the people's time and giving their time back and working for them, whether it's waiting for the line, standing in the line for the event. They just take out the stress out of your life and handle it by themselves. So, I will hand it over to the Jennifer and she will introduce herself and tell us about your company.
Yes, thank you so much, Sajat, for having me today. My name's Jennifer Goff. I'm owner and founder of Skip the Line, and we are based in Washington, D.C. I started the company in 2017, and it wasn't really meant to be a company. It was kind of an experiment to see if people would pay me to hold their spot in line. If there was a big Game of Thrones pop-up bar, and the line, sometimes the wait to get into the bar would be up to 3 hours. And I would approach people in line, just see if they would hire me to wait. I didn't have a business name or a business plan, so it all had to just be them trusting me. And the first time, after 3 hours, someone finally hired me. I saved their spot. I sent them text updates. And then from there, it snowballed into a little business. We would wait in line for restaurant reservations, shirts, specific things to DC, like congressional hearings and the Supreme Court. COVID shut everything down. I quickly pivoted to offer a delivery service because that was what was in most demand at the time. Grocery delivery, medication delivery, food delivery. And then from there, we expanded into a higher end personal assistant service, which includes helping people with errands, daily calendar management, trip planning, anything you can think of. But all three services fall under our mission of saving people time.
Thank you. Thank you for this introduction. Yeah, I think this company is quite popular in, I think, DC itself because you're the proud sponsor of the National Concert in, I think, meeting in Orlando last year or this year. I don't remember, but you were the main sponsor for that conference, right?
Yes, so we sponsored one of the events at the National Concierge Association in Orlando, which was last month, and we were really proud to be a sponsor. I've been a member of that organization since 2018, and I serve on the DC chapter board of directors and also the national organization's board of directors. So it was a pleasure to be involved
Yeah.
in the welcome night.
That's wonderful. We have a quite good experience in this industry itself. So if we have to put for my viewers, like what your company does is like if someone is in the need of, so if they want to buy a ticket off I will say a stadium, right? They will stand. There's queues outside of it, and your company they will contact you, and one of your employee will stand in on behalf of that particular customer, right, in the line and buy whatever they need it for. That's kind of a service exactly that your company is doing, right?
Yes, so we can do it a couple different ways. Some of them, for example, like concerts, which you might be talking about, if you already have tickets, let's say, but it's general admission and you want to
Uh-huh.
be, very up close to the front to see your favorite performer, we can get there very early, save your spot, and then you'll
Yeah.
swap spots with us just before the doors open. If it's an instance where we do have to make a purchase, we can do that as well. For something like a dinner reservation, we could put your name down and then you can show up, once they text you that your table's ready, which could be, an hour or two. But not everybody wants to have to come to the restaurant, put their name down, find something else to do.
Yeah.
So it works in a variety of different ways. We also do stuff for moving lines. So for instance, for like the Game of Thrones pop-up bar, that line would be constantly moving, but we would get
Uh-huh.
in line, we would keep an eye on it, and then we would send a text just saying, hey, you're almost at the front. Please come swap with us. If people are a little late, we just let other people pass by. And we're also very transparent, letting people behind us know, hey, we have a couple people coming to take over the spot. Just want to give you a heads up just so that, everybody's on friendly terms.
Oh, nice, nice. That's a good, I think, good business approach that you're having. Yeah. So if I have to put forward, like you also mentioned that you are in the delivery service as well. So would you consider these the deliveries apps like an Instacart or Uber are your kind of a direct competitor in this one? How do you compete with such a big giants?
So we used to do a lot of individual delivery during COVID, but we
Uh,
since kind of shifted gears because individual delivery, you really have to have the volume coming in to make a lot, to make any profit off of that. And with companies like Uber Eats, DoorDash, all of those, they kind of have that market already taken care of. And it's a lot of work for not a lot of money. So we actually shifted into doing catering orders. So we work with a
Mhm.
lot of restaurants in DC to provide delivery and also buffet setup. And if they need service
Oh,
staff for corporate luncheon, larger events like birthdays or weddings. So we kind of did it that way just because it's a little more, it just brings in a little bit more revenue and we can kind of control it better rather than a lot of individual deliveries. And it's been working out pretty well for us.
yeah, that's it. I think quite pivot that you took out of this delivery, and I never thought of having this delivery aspect as one of the business growing opportunity. So, if we talk about this industry, how do you think this industry is shifting into this scenario, and how your company is tackling with that?
Yes. So one of the things I definitely noticed, and you probably have as well, you might find a lot of, especially with personal assistant services, a lot of virtual or AI personal assistant companies out there that can provide someone for you to kind of, do your scheduling, write your
Uh-huh.
emails, all that kind of stuff. So that's something that we are kind of paying attention to because our team in DC, we do use real people based in DC, which is very helpful for a lot of, running errands, which, everybody can do. I mean, I'm sure you could hire a service that,
Yeah.
then contracts to a person to do it. But we really try to, even with all of the AI and the virtual assistant and things like that, we really try to focus our company on, hey, we are real people who live in the DC area. We are able to help you and just have a more thoughtful connection with clients because we're doing a lot of person human to human, but we still do like to incorporate AI into some of our things to enhance our professional services and how we can kind of use that to better service our clients as well.
Wow, that's wonderful. So, if we talk about your employees, like in Uber, how does the Uber work? Like, if somebody just install their Uber driver app, they will become their Uber's so-called employee. How does this work for you? Like, do you have a particular amount of employees that do this task, or like it's a more like app structure thing, just like Uber?
So we don't have an app. Everything is done in-house. So we have a team of people and then we kind of just, regularly schedule who's going to be doing deliveries on this day, who's going to be helping our clients with X, Y, and Z throughout the week, kind of project management. So we did at when we were doing the individual deliveries, we actually had software developed during COVID so that customers could easily go on our site, place the pickup
Mhm.
order, and then they could do it for any restaurant. So that was kind of the beauty. It wasn't integrated like how Uber is with certain restaurants, but let's say there's a restaurant that Uber or DoorDash doesn't go to or the restaurant doesn't use them, you could still order the food with the restaurant and then order the pickup through our site, pay, get everything squared away, and we would send a driver to pick up your order and deliver it to you.
Okay, so your customer, like customer comes to your website, that's where they order. They can call it, they can go to the website. These are the different options available on your business, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But no app, right?
Correct.
As of
Not at
now.
this time.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice. So, another question, like how would you approach in the market? Like how do you sell yourself in the market? I think I'm assuming you are in between this DC area, and like have you thought of expanding it? We will cover it the expansion part later. But how about like how you're approaching to your customers? Like how you're selling your product?
Yeah, so we really emphasize when we sell the product and the service that we're saving people time. And in a city like Washington D.C. where people are extremely busy, they are time starved, they need some extra assistance with whatever it might be, whether that's waiting in line, whether that's getting something delivered or having us run an errand. We are here as a support system to these busy people and that's how we market it to people. We are very, and this has always been something that is very near and dear to my heart. We're very big on quality customer service. And a lot of times you can, get that by calling me or calling the company on the phone if you have a question or you need help with something. So we really try to emphasize that. And we do that, like I said, selling people, kind of selling people their time back to them. And we also do it by creating trustworthy bonds with people. So, there's a lot of clients where we work really in depth with them in their life. We know everything about them,
Mhm.
every nook and cranny. So, they then kind of see that and then they refer us to their friends. And so it's a little more based on referrals because then people will say, hey, do you know anybody that can help me with this rather than finding someone random or a random service off the internet. So we kind of market it both ways that we're here to help you save time in a very busy world and that we are also working with people very in depth and we are a trustworthy service to be able to help you.
That's nice. That's wonderful. If we talk about the revenue generation part, like how does the DoorDash and Uber works? They charge some of the thing from business owner and they charge some of the aspect from the customer. So how does this work? And you charges from both end or you can just charge it from the customer and don't charge anything from the business owner? How does this work in your case?
Yep. We only charge the customer. And our
Uh-huh.
rates are a little bit higher, but the thing is, and this is what we started in COVID, because we were an alternative to some of the third-party apps that were charging restaurants, but restaurants were having such a hard time making money because, they obviously had to only offer takeout. They lost a tremendous amount of business. And so, they were having a hard time paying app fees, to do
Uh-huh.
delivery. So we were an alternative. We did not charge the restaurants anything.
Yeah.
We only charge the customers and a lot of customers were okay with it. They were okay with paying a little bit
Mm-hmm.
higher fee so that their favorite restaurants could continue to stay in business.
Yeah, that's a wonderful idea. I think this particular some of the task I think have the niche people. For example, if there are some higher end people, rich people who need something to do on their behalf, I think
Mhm.
that's exactly you guys also been taking care of, right? They have certain tasks that they need to perform, but they are not able to because of the time constraints, and you
Yeah.
are jumps into that. And currently, do you have any competitor in the your market in particular DC or anywhere?
I'd say our biggest competitor is probably TaskRabbit. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
a national and maybe even international company where you
Uh,
can just go online, hire a random person to come over and help you, paint a
yeah.
wall or move some furniture. But the way we differentiate that is we really stress that with us, you're using the same people. It's very consistent.
Uh-huh.
TaskRabbit is kind of like a freelancing service for people who can do any type of task. So they can kind of create their own pricing and their hours. But for us, we're very consistent with our pricing and we're very consistent with our team. But
Oh,
I would say TaskRabbit is a big one. Um, Again, there are some newer virtual AI assistant companies coming out. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but those are always something we're kind of keeping in our mind just to see who we're competing with. And then in DC, there might be, some other people that do it independently, but maybe not, they're not really well known or anything like that.
okay. Yeah, that's correct. TaskRabbit is doing the same kind of task, but they have a, I think, higher portfolio. They're doing multiple things, but you are concentrated on, I think, the delivery and some of the task that is doable within the reachable area. So
Yep.
if I have to talk about your business, like what is the one thing that is working completely well for you and one thing that you want to, like, you've been frustrated about, kept on thinking about this in business. So what are these two things? Best and frustration.
Would say the best is, that we are well, first of all, that I was able to pivot the company during COVID and that both of those
Uh,
services still work out today and they're both growing, that being the delivery and then also being the personal assistant. We also still wait in line. So we still offer all three services. So we're growing at a good pace. I would say the biggest challenge for me and other business owners, other small business owners might be able to relate is hiring.
yeah.
Hiring has also been difficult. And that's probably why a lot of companies are kind of shifting to the virtual AI to help their clients because hiring people is it's a challenge. It's been a challenge since COVID. It's also hard to compete with, other companies that might be able to offer potential employees a little bit better
Yeah.
benefits or something like that. So, it kind of goes both ways because I have a solid team of people, but it is definitely something that has been a little more on the difficult side.
Oh, that's nice. Like, hiring is the frustration part for you as of now because there is a lot of competition. People always jump if they got some higher salary or better salary, right? Yeah,
Yes, because we're a lot,
that's
yeah.
one thing. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
for a lot of our things that we have to do in person, we do need an actual person,
Yeah.
to do those things, whether it's an
Exactly.
errand or on site. So it just, we really want to keep the quality, and that's why it's just a little more difficult to find those people.
Do you have like the particular some of the retail options, like some of the retailers who want to send the, for example, if there is a clothing brand who want to send the directly deliver it to the customers within the reach of that showroom. So you have those kind of clients or retail owners for which you do kind of those delivery services for particular clothes and branding. There are some of the examples in the mechanic industries or the retailer industry. So do you have those customers in house for you, your customer?
We actually don't, but that's a good thing to think about. Most of
Yeah.
our customers are local DC restaurants, and we work with them because they refer us to their clients. So if they want to, delivery for a corporate event, and the restaurant does not offer in-house delivery, they will recommend us and they kind of do it that way. We have done that for other small companies here and there in DC. So for different smaller retail shops, but it's not something where maybe like a national brand or anything like that is
Uh,
currently using us.
Yeah, I think you perfectly have delivered the restaurant aspects, but there are some. I was searching about this industry and I came to know, but this is the another aspect you can explore in the retailer options. And there are some mechanical industries, like in one of the company, they want to deliver it within the within the 1 hour mile, but they don't have any particular transportation available. So they are seeking for these kind of companies who can deliver this particular part to their desired vendor so that they can reach on time. So there you can definitely pitch in and help those kind of business owners, and that's the one thing might be exploring in the future as well, I believe.
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah, so if we have to talk about, like, for example, you have a magic wand, which one thing that you will improve in your business right now?
One thing to improve, and I know that you said we were going to come back to talk on this. So before COVID, I definitely had plans of expanding the line waiting service, because that's the easiest of all three
Hmm.
services to expand, just in terms of overhead cost and things like that. And now that we all have all three services, I've kind of put that on the back burner because I was focused on really building out the other two services, specifically in DC. But if I had a magic wand, I would love to be able to take all three of our services, the same business model, to other states to start, other cities, and see how
Yeah.
that goes. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes into that, putting together a team, hiring, of course, knowing your demographic, doing all those types of studies. But if I did have a magic wand, that is what I would do.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay. So you're currently like measuring some of the metrics in your business, and what is the one metric? Before talking about the metric, sorry. So if we talk about the revenue generation, so what are your running rate growth as of now, or annual? I think annual income of the company, how it would be.
I mean, the annual revenue of the company would probably be around 200,000. It's still in the growth phase, especially since we had
Mm-hmm.
to shift
Yeah.
from certain things. And, even during and after COVID, it did take some time to really get everything working, those
Yeah.
models working properly. But because everything is still growing and there will always be a need for delivery, there will always be a need for, running errands and saving people time, we do expect that to grow.
Oh, that's nice. And along with that question, so which metric in your business that you want to improve the metrics, whether it's KPI growth or lead generation? So which exactly the metric you're seeking to improve?
I would definitely say, well, I think lead generation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We do a good job of finding out where our customers are coming from. I had a call with somebody last week and they said, "Oh, I used Chat GPT to find personal assistants in DC
Well,
and it came up." So, you know, Chat GPT is certainly pulling us, pulling Skip the Line, and
nice.
it's showing up for people. So, it's always good to ask people, "Hey, how did you find us?" And that.
Yeah.
But, there's still work to be done so that we can kind of increase that over time and see what happens.
Nice. Yes. Nice. So currently, are you running some of the ads on the Meta ads or Google ads for this purpose?
Not right now. I like to
Mm-hmm.
stick with a lot of organic marketing. as
Yeah.
much as possible. I have ran ads before. As you probably know, you just have to be very consistent with those ads and kind of keep at
Exactly.
it. Right now, and I've noticed this works well in DC, like I said, when going back to the referrals, really having our current clients kind of refer us and it being more of
Uh,
like a bespoke service. I personally like that. As a consumer, I get a little annoyed with the amount of ads
yeah.
that are constantly showing up. And it almost is a turnoff. So if we do an ad, it really needs to be something very thoughtful. But in the meantime, we really try to stress that organically, grassroots, all that kind of stuff within the DC area.
That's nice. That's nice. So now we'll talk about the expansion. So as a business owner, where do you want to have this company in 6 to 12 months?
6 to 12 months. I don't know if we would do any expanding to other cities there. And to be honest, I'm a little concerned economically how things are going to go. So it's really hard to give a forecast when things are, they're just a little all over the place at the moment.
Uh-huh.
But DC, even though DC has been affected by a lot of the federal layoffs and stuff like that, there
Yeah,
are still plenty of other jobs and there are still plenty of other entrepreneurs and businesses and things like that in this area that can certainly utilize our services. So we would like to grow. I mean, I would love to be able to increase revenue maybe by 10% this year, just by being able to help people, with kind of, and like I said, focusing on other types of businesses and individuals who really could use our service. But again, it is a little bit up in the air at the moment.
that's nice. Like, yeah, there's a lot of ups and downs going, especially in the DC right now. So that's a good that you're positive about this. Like, you must be expanding. And hopefully, you will be having a good future in 6 to 12 months. And
Yeah. And I will say that, and I know this is like a very, random number, but I will say that after 8 years, because I think it's been 8 years,
uh-huh,
this year we are on track to finally hit $1 million in sales. I know
uh,
some companies make $1 million in sales in a day, and for us, it
yeah.
took 8 years, but that's okay. And I know it's like a very arbitrary number, but it's just kind of something that's interesting and something to celebrate internally.
Yeah, that's very wonderful. Like it does not always do this podcast with a different business owner, and they always focus on one thing. Focus on your business, like how you're competing, how you're taking it to the next level. I think it does not matter how other people are doing it in 1 million or in 1 month. You are doing this growth, and I personally am very sort of motivated about how you're approaching with this business and taking it to the $1 million is very huge. Huge, I think, huge task that you have accomplished. I really congratulate you to achieve
Thank
that
you.
one. Yeah. So that's all in the podcast. We have covered about yourself, your company, your the industry aspects, and your future growths. We covered everything. Thank you, Jennifer, for being on the podcast today.
Absolutely. Thank you again. Thank you again, Sartaj. This was great.
Thank you, Jennifer.